Peace, Love, Liberty Radio version 4.0. Prepare for launch.
OTC is go.
Packetbus is go.
PTC is go.
LPS is go.
Houston flight is go.
Molotov.
STM is go.
Safety-Com is go.
SPU is go.
LRD is go.
SRO is go. CDI is go.
Launch Director, NTD, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition. Right away, Houston.
Consequences so severe, so pull your trigger quickly, dear. Our patriots are acting up, let's punish them with fear. Hey, hey!
Hey, welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. It is Monday, and this is version 4.0 of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Version 4.0 is where I help you become a better version of you while I become a better version of me. And one thing that a lot of people deal with on Mondays is, coming off of that weekend high to where they're, it's Monday. As the saying went in the movie Office Space, looks like somebody's got a case of the Mondays. So, figure since today is Monday, let's talk about ways that we can be happier. And no, I'm not going to, well, you know what, I will quote Bobby Boucher from The Waterboy, only to say what I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say happiness comes from special rays of sunshine that come down when you're feeling blue. Because that's not actually where happiness comes from. Of course, it sounds good, and it sounds cute, and, it's kind of funny, but it's not true. But what is true is that science apparently has figured out 5 things that we can do to be happier. The article comes from archetypes.com. They say making smart choices and taking the right actions can make you happy. Well, a lot of people want to be happy, and they still don't know how to attain this goal. Happiness should not be elusive when we have certain studies that can point us towards the answers we seek. Here are 5 things you can start doing right now to be happy. And hopefully listening to this podcast makes you happy, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it, right? And speaking of this podcast and making people happy, people are always happy, or usually happy, when they get their questions answered. And, well, every Wednesday I do an Ask Me Anything where I answer your questions on this show. Send those over to me, ama@fppradio.com. And now let's jump into the 5 things, according to science, that you can do to be happy. Express gratitude. They say you may feel you do not have a reason to be thankful, but there's always something to be thankful for. According to a study from psychologists at UC Davis, showing gratitude helps you reach contentment and have a positive perspective of the future. It all starts with having a journal where you write things down that you are grateful for. One group out of the 3 groups that volunteered could attest to having fewer physical symptoms of discomfort and having more satisfaction with their lives after pinning down things that they were grateful for. And, I actually have on my task manager every day something pops up that says, answer these questions every day. And the questions are, what are you grateful for? And what is your definition of greatness? And most days I'll look at it and just be like, oh yeah, I'm grateful for having, my health. Or it's a sunny day and I get to go do, whatever. So I look at it and I'll, briefly say something, and then just, it's really become another thing for me to check off of my list, and that's not why I added it on there. It was not added on to where I could be like, oh yes, I'm checking something else off of my list. It was added on there for me to actually wind up thinking about, but it's just become something that, I don't really think about that much. But it is good to, express gratitude, find things that you are grateful for, and to express that in some kind of way. And according to the psychologists there at UC Davis, writing things down actually wound up having a better effect than just saying what you are grateful for. Number 2 on the list of 5 things you can do to be happier, they say sleep more. And this is one of those fine lines to where, you can oversleep, but most people don't wind up allowing themselves to sleep enough. I've heard people say, "Oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead," or, sleep is for the weak. I can get by on 4 hours of sleep. And we talked previously about how people think that they can get by on small amounts of sleep, but actually they're doing, they're less productive than people that have stayed up for 3 consecutive days. They just think they're more productive because they, took a nap in the middle of the night. This, they say, however, sleep has a powerful effect on our bodies. Not only does it make us more productive or better focus, it aids in the recovery of the body. People who do not have enough sleep tend to fail to recall pleasant memories. Sleep has an effect on our performance, according to a study. Sleep deprivation affects the mood of workers and could affect their entire workday. Not only does it affect how much work can be done negatively, it also affected how well work is performed. A simple nap can be powerful enough to reverse the negative emotional reactivity to anger and fear to express of happiness, or rather to expressions of happiness and positivity. And speaking of power naps, I might wind up taking one this afternoon while it rains and listening to the rain pitter-patter on the metal roof. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I'll see how I feel after finishing this podcast. Next on the list of things that you can do to be happy, well, this one might actually not be so surprising, and I'll tell you what it is when we come back here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
What can you do to be happy? Well, I'm going over 5 things that, according to scientists, you can do to be happy. Number 1, they say express gratitude. Number 2, they say sleep more, but what they really mean is get enough sleep. And yes, if you need it, take a nap. Number 3 on the list, not surprising, be around happy people. We can all attest to how infectious happiness can be. Surrounding yourself with happy, interesting, and positive people can also make you happy, according to Dr. Nicholas Christakis, a physician and social scientist at Harvard Medical School. Dr. Christakis says, Your happiness depends not just on your choices and actions, but also on the choices and actions of people you don't even know who are one. Oh, wait, who you don't even know are 1, 2, or 3 degrees removed from you. It is indeed better to either surround yourself with happy people or spread such happiness by affecting the lives of people you know positively. And what this is talking about, the 2 or 3 degrees removed, it's sort of that butterfly effect, right? To where if you go into the grocery store and the cashier is all kinds of grouchy to you, then you might be grouchy to the next person. They'll be grouchy to somebody else. And if you don't know why the cashier was grouchy, maybe the previous customer was mean and rude and called her all kinds of horrible names. Maybe she woke up and noticed that somebody had stolen her car. You never know why somebody's in a bad mood. And that bad mood can affect somebody else, that can affect somebody else, that can affect somebody else. And happiness is the same way. And most people aren't going to really realize, oh, wow, the cashier was really pleasant today. They might just, not even think about it. And, they continued doing whatever. But because of those neutral or positive interactions, you're going to have more neutral or positive interactions, which then makes more people have neutral and positive interactions, which leads to less, sadness. If everybody's interactions were neutral or positive, then there would be less sadness. Now, somebody could wind up being, sad because things weren't happy enough for them. I guess. I don't really know. But the point here is to spread happiness, to, be kind to people just because they're people. Next on the list, smile more. A smile has the power to make us feel better and more positive about our lives. According to a study, smiling while you cultivate positive thoughts improves your mood and outlook on life. Smiling improves your attention and makes you better focused on mental tasks. You can look at the world from several perspectives when you smile and have a deeper understanding of the world around you. During challenging situations, a smile can help us heal and reduce some of the pain. When faced with an upsetting situation, smiling can be effective in reducing the distress. You can start smiling more to improve your mood. It could be forced at first, but along the way, you would appreciate the reasons why you smile. And number 5 on the list of 5 things that you can do to be happy. This, according to science, they say volunteer and help other people. To make yourself happy, you should help others. And allow me to pause right here before getting into the rest of this and say that I know a lot of people that, they sort of depend on others to be happy. They're people pleasers. To where they're like, well, if everybody around me is happy, then I'll be happy. But then they wind up not being happy because nobody is doing anything to try to make them happy or to help them be happy. People are just constantly asking things of them. So there's a fine line between just, being a decent human being and helping somebody because you're a decent human being and trying to help other people because you put your own happiness in some kind of interconnected way to other people's happiness. They say, according to a study published in the journal Science, people who give away money to charity or who volunteer their time and energy are more satisfied and positive about the world around them. Yes, doing good eventually has its perks, according to a study published in the Journal of Happiness Studies. Quote, we examine whether a positive feedback loop exists between spending money on others, i.e., pro-social spending, and happiness. Participants recalled a previous purchase made for either themselves or someone else and then reported their happiness. Afterwards, participants chose whether to spend a monetary windfall on themselves or someone else. Participants assigned to recall a purchase made for someone else reported feeling significantly happier immediately after the recollection. Most importantly, the happier participants felt, the more likely they were to choose to spend the windfall on someone other or someone else in the near future. So people who are happier and who get joy from giving gifts are more likely to give a gift if they wind up getting some unsuspecting or unexpected amount of money. That does not seem anything other than logical to me. Like, that seems perfectly normal that people who are happy by being able to, give things away to others would then wind up giving more money to others. And yes, I understand not everybody is in a financial place to where they can give money to help other people out. But there have been studies that have shown that sometimes it's the poorer people that will give more money per capita than people who are more wealthy. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that the less fortunate realize, how good, and I realize this sounds weird, but when you don't have a lot, you realize what little can do, what a little can do for somebody else. Does that make sense? Hopefully it did. Hopefully what I just said made sense, because it made sense in my brain. There's more. Stay tuned to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio online at fppradio.com.
During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davi Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. He explains, "We aim to show the world beyond a shadow of a doubt that power corrupts absolutely and corrupt authority deserves no obedience." Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com, all major bookstores, and now available as an audiobook. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Before I continue with version 4.0 of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, I want to make sure that I tell you about a way that you can keep your money in the free market. That is, if you use free market money. Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? If so, then you need SpendABit in your arsenal. SpendABit is the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. SpendABit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants like Overstock.com and Free Press Publications. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend a bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin accepting merchant like I am, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. That's spendabit.fppradio.com. So let's change things up just a bit, and instead of talking about ways that you can be happier, and let me go back over these 5 ways. Express gratitude, get enough sleep, take a nap if you need to, be around happy people, smile more, and volunteer to help others. And that can be volunteer your time or volunteer your money. Now, let's change gears, not totally, but let's talk about success. And specifically, lessons about success that we can learn from a popular television show. It's one of the few shows that I actually watch. And, well, I don't think I actually talk about what television I watch on the program. So I'll let you know, it's Game of Thrones. I know not everybody likes Game of Thrones. Some people think that, people only like it because other people do. I don't know. I started watching it a couple years ago because there was a girl that I was interested in that she was like, oh, you've got to watch Game of Thrones. And I was like, I've never even heard of it. And so then I found the stuff and I started watching it. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And then I binge watched the first 3 seasons in a matter of a week. And now I'm hooked. And every time there's a show, I've got to watch it. So, yeah, I like Game of Thrones. But there's an article here. Again, 5 lessons of success we can all learn from Game of Thrones. The article begins, there's so much to learn from the Game of Thrones, from the political feuds to the cases of personal vendettas. Game of Thrones may pretty much be the best show on television. But when you watch such wonderful dramas, it is important not to simply focus on the thrills and entertainment, but also to focus on the lessons you can deduce and apply in your personal life. Number 1 on lessons of success we can learn from Game of Thrones. They say it's up to you to make a difference. And this doesn't mean if you're a dwarf named Tyrion Lannister or Bran the Broken or even Jon the Bastard. It's not really about where you are from or what name people have called you. You can indeed be successful and make the difference in the lives of others. Many strong characters exist in the Game of Thrones, and many of them did not start that way. Like Daenerys, who was once a meek girl and controlled by a bossy brother, but it was up to her to take charge of her life and become the queen she is in the drama. You can learn from such characters that you sometimes need to determine your future by taking a strong stance and pursuing it with enough passion. Number 2, they say integrity will always define your character and how others treat you. It's not uncommon to hear a Lannister in the show say, a Lannister always pays his debts. It's easy to lose respect, power, and love in our careers and personal life because we have promised what we cannot deliver. Your reputation can determine how successful you have become, since others can offer you their support because they believe you will keep your word. Successful people know this and do well to act on whatever promise they have given. And there are some people that will look at this and be like, yes, but integrity wound up leading this one particular character to wind up getting his head chopped off in season 1. And is it okay to give spoiler alerts or give away spoilers? Ned Stark, who a lot of people thought was the main character of the show, wound up getting his head cut off at the end of the first season. And some people said that it was because of his integrity of, he just couldn't, play the game, and he stood strongly for what he believes. So therefore, this proves that you should not stand strongly for things because you'll wind up getting your head cut off and you have to compromise and, all of this stuff. But at the same time, I do believe that, as they say here, your reputation can determine how successful you will become, since others can offer their support because they believe that you will keep your word. Successful people know this and do well to act on whatever promises they have made. Next on the list, they say, live every day like it is your last. Quote here from Peter Baelish, also known as Littlefinger. He says everybody dies sooner or later, and don't worry about your death. Worry about your life. Take charge of your life for as long as it lasts. And there's more here that I'll get into here in the closing moments of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com.
Hi, I'm the Rebel Mistress.
And this is Rob Mathias, host of The Rebel Love Show.
And you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
With Darryl W. Perry.
Hey, it's the closing moments of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. We're talking Game of Thrones, specifically 5 lessons of success that we can all learn from Game of Thrones. Number 1, it's up to you to make a difference. Number 2, integrity will always define your character and how others treat you. Number 3, live every day like it's your last. The reality in this drama is how characters die and in a flash are gone. It is obvious that all men must die. Valar Morghulis. This should push us to follow through on our desires with actions. We cannot afford to procrastinate in pursuing our dreams or letting those we care about know how much we love them. By making every moment count, you can show reason for your existence. Number 4, nothing in life is perfect. What makes Game of Thrones stand out from other television dramas is the realistic angle writer George R.R. Martin gives to it. It's not about happily ever after where you have good triumphing over bad all the time. Actually, in Game of Thrones, most of the time, the bad guys are always having an edge over the good guys. When you're going after your goals in life, you should be as realistic as possible. You are never going to get the facts right and set out on your journey to attain your goals. Even when things don't work out the way you want, you can understand and appreciate the reality of the world we live in. And finally, under the lessons of success we can all learn from Game of Thrones, you can't please everybody. And this goes hand in hand with the things you can do to be happier. Yes, you can volunteer to help others, but just know that you can't always make other people happy. So if your happiness is dependent on other people's happiness, then, sorry, you're never going to be happy. And remember, you can't please everybody. Jaime Lannister says, so many vows. They make you swear and swear. Defend the king, obey your father, protect the innocent, defend the weak. But what if your father despises the king? What if the king massacres the innocent? It's too much. No matter what you do, you're forsaking one vow or another. The article here concludes, we all try to please others, perhaps out of a sense of responsibility or because we're trying to quash some guilt. But the truth is that you cannot do what is right in everybody's eyes. Rather than try to please everyone, focus on how you can get the best advantage for yourself. But again, keep your integrity. Hey, that's the show. Don't forget, every Wednesday I answer your questions. Send those over ama@fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copyheart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas, which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.